A few years ago, people were ready to crown Anthony Davis the best player in the NBA, but then he and the Pelicans had themselves a down season, and I think everybody came back down to earth. But I think it's still a viable question to ask. Does Anthony Davis have the ability to be the best player in the NBA one day? Well, I think the one area that we were kind of waiting for him to enter elite status with, and I think he did it this previous season, was on the defensive side of the floor. He was a significant difference maker for the Pelicans, especially when he played the center position, as when he was not playing, when he was sitting on the bench or he was out, the Pelicans' defensive rating was 110, and their net rating was -9. So they were one of the worst teams, and potentially the worst team in the league, when Anthony Davis was not in the game. But when he was playing, their defensive rating was 102.5, which would be number 1 in the NBA. And Davis, his rim protection and just overall paint presence is what really has gone to the next level. I mean, his speed combined with just his verticality and his height that allows him to just be kind of anywhere at all times. He's kind of a cheat code defensively, really, because usually guys of his length, they don't have his sort of foot speed. I think the question with him, if he can get to the next level defensively, is he going to be able to defend like point guards when he switches onto them? And that's not to say he can't do it already, because he definitely has moments where he's able to play good perimeter defense, but I want to see if he can get to another level with that. But I think it's fair to say that Anthony Davis is probably the 4th best defender in the NBA right now. You have the big three of Kawhi Leonard, Draymond, and Gobert, and then I think you're looking at Davis number 4 as a defender, and at his age, that's pretty scary. As for what he's mastered offensively, I mean, he's mastered just using his athleticism, because the dude is nearly 7 feet tall, and he's got the physical gifts of like a shooting guard. He shot 69% at the basket this previous season for the Pelicans. There really isn't any sort of a shot around the basket that he can't finish, and you could make the argument that Davis is maybe the best pick-and-roll big man in the NBA today, because who the hell is going to stop a dude who got someone smaller than him standing in his way? He'll just shoot the ball right over you anyway, but then he's also got the craftiness to deal with guys who might be a little bigger or a little stronger than him. And to think how many of these buckets come when he's not even the vocal point of the offense. I mean, we just saw a fast break there. This one's just a simple offensive rebound. You don't box the dude out, he's going to finish it over you. How valuable is a big man who can put up maybe 12 to 14 points a game where they don't even have to be the guy that the play is meant for? And what I want to talk about with Davis is, I mean, he has a lot of distinct abilities as well. He's a very good mid-range shooter who has consistently shot over 40% from there. He's just shot 43%, so well over league average. He's very good along the elbows, so he kind of has a Kevin Garnett-esque ability to just kind of get the shot over you. He's not in like Dirk's territory, and I don't think he ever will get there, but he's way more athletic than Dirk as well. So I think where he's at with his mid-range is very good. The question is, can he get the three-pointer down? He has had about 2 seasons now where he's attempted a little under 2 threes a game, and he hasn't really been able to make himself a threat from out there. But given that he's already a good mid-range shooter, I think it's fair to think that he can just take a couple steps back and be something. There have been multiple big men who have done this. Al Horford for a long time was one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA. Marc Gasol proved himself as a shooter from around 15 feet, and a similar thing can be said for Brook Lopez. So we've seen enough big men who can shoot from mid-range, stretch out to three-point land, and I think it's fair to believe Davis can do the same thing. Now, when we're talking about the low post, he's good from here. I don't know if Davis is ever going to be like a Tim Duncan-esque post-up player. Part of it just being it's the era that we're in where we don't really just like to give the ball to guys on the low block and just let them go to work. If he ends up on a switch, I think it could definitely happen. And that's not to say that he still doesn't have a level that he could get to as a post player. He definitely can, but if he never ends up being some lights out post-up player, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world. What I do want him to get to, though, is being just a better ball handler. Davis is a good creator. If he gets a rebound, he can bring it up floor himself, and I mean, there are some highlights of the dude actually breaking people down off the dribble, but I want to see if he can get to another level with that, and I also want to see if he can get to another level as a playmaker, because up to this point, he's just averaged around 2 assists a game, and I think he just has a way higher ceiling with that sort of a thing, given where his ball handling is. Like, I don't think it's too insane to ask him to do the things that, like, Blake Griffin does or Draymond Green can do, especially with just grabbing the ball off of the backboard and then taking the offense himself. I would like to see Davis' assists get up there because I do think he can do that. And I think those are the 2 areas we can really look to, is his playmaking improving and also his three-point shot being a real thing. The other thing with Anthony Davis that we got to talk about, because all these things are great, the guys around him have to be there as well, and that has been a problem for him because some of the teammates he's had, whether it be injuries or guys just not being good, they've kind of sucked. Do I like Drew Holiday? Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's one of the more well-rounded point guards in the NBA, even if he's still kind of like around number 13 or 14 in the league. Can Rajon Rondo give them positive minutes for an entire season? I'm skeptical on that one. They're going to be asking Jordan Crawford to create a lot of offense off the bench because this Pelicans team is just looking to find as much perimeter talent as they can to surround Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Jordan Crawford was good for them to close out this previous season. Can he extend that out to an entire year? I mean, he hasn't really done it up to this point. He was out of the NBA at one time. They're going to need it because defenses are going to be swarming on AD and Boogie as much as possible, and you need to make them pay for it somehow. And I've mentioned him a couple times already. Just what are we going to get out of DeMarcus Cousins? Is he going to be focused? Is he not going to throw temper tantrums when he gets a technical foul? Are his technical fouls going to be down? Is he going to be that real second star that this team needs? A lot of questions, but do I think it's fair to think Anthony Davis can get to that number 1 spot? I don't think it's ridiculous to make that prediction.